Hey, welcome back to FX Action Trader YouTube channel. So, as usual, we are going to share about the potential pairs that we are going to trade or we plan to trade in this coming week. So, let us start with the first pair of this video, the Euro Dollar. So, by looking on the daily chart, what we can see is that market is still somehow respect this daily resistance about 1.216 to 1.218. As we can see that market retested this zone on last week, and we can see that there is some sort of selling momentum happen from this zone, and now market is likely to retest this resistance zone again. So for me, the overall trend of this entire market, I'm still based on more buy instead of sell. So, but this is not a very good, this is still not a very good level or a very good condition for us to place in a buy trade yet, because this major resistance on the daily chart is not broken. So, I would prefer market to have a very clear break up above this resistance zone, followed by a pullback to retest that this resistance zone has now become a very solid support zone, because normally in these kind of conditions a fake out is likely to happen as well. So we always need a very solid breakout and retest before we place in our order. So once we see the pullback and breakout, once we see the breakout and pullback of this entire zone, we can scale down to our entry time frame and look for a buy trade from this zone. All right, so back to the daily chart, the potential take profit area would be the previous high about 1.232 is around this level. So there are still plenty of space for the market to keep on moving from this area. So let us move to the next pair, the pound dollar. So pound dollar on daily chart, we can see that market has actually retested this previous resistance zone and followed by a bearish engulfing candle. But if the seller momentum is going to continue, we shouldn't see a doji being formed right after the selling momentum candle, which is this bearish engulfing candle. So we should see candle like this for a trend continuation. So on Friday, we can see that there is another bullish engulfing candle being formed right after this combination of bearish engulfing. So this condition is quite similar to what we have just discussed on EU just now. So the overall trend is still an uptrend. So what we need to wait is that we have to wait for this resistance zone to be broken, followed by a retest, and the retest on both resistance zone or both support zone and also this trend line area. And after the retest, there is only a very good time for us to enter the market with our buy order. So let us move to the yen pair. So euro yen, obviously market is still in a very clear uptrend. So I think I've mentioned this from last week and also in the previous week that in terms of daily chart or in terms of higher time frame, the market is still in a very strong bullish phase, as we did not see any symptoms of any signs of bearish momentum. So on last week, we can see that market has actually broken the previous high and a new high has been created. So on this week, we are still going to buy on dip. We need to say that we are still going to buy on this market unless market show us some reversal signal or some signals of the bullish momentum isn't going to deplete. So in overall, for euro yen, I'm still on a buy base. So how about pound yen? Let us have a look on the pound yen. So on pound yen, we can see that from daily chart, what we can read from the daily chart is that market was in a very strong uptrend, and then market went into a sideways condition. So right after the sideways condition, we see a very clear break above the sideways structure, which indicate that the market is still prefer to continue in the bullish direction. So normally, how do we trade a sideways? We always wait patiently for market to retest the structure again. So in here, we can see that for this condition, this structure has now become a support, which is previously a resistance zone. So we are going to wait for market to retest the structure again, and we are going to enter for a long trade. So for Aussie Yen, let us have a look on the daily chart. So for Aussie Yen, what we can see is that the daily previous high has been broken on this week, and market has do a pullback followed by a bullish engulfing candlestick, which indicates that this might be a movement of trend continuation. So on H4 chart, we can also see that this is actually the downtrend trend line has been broken, and also we can see that there is a bullish dominant setup on H4. So in this week, I'm going to buy on this pair, and my stop loss will be placed below this level, which is 84.15. All right, so in overall, for Euro Yen, Pound Yen, and Aussie Yen, we are still in a buy base. All right, buy bias. So how about New Zealand Yen? So New Zealand Yen, I believe that New Zealand Yen, we are also looking for a buy. The reason behind is very simple. So first, market was in a very strong uptrend since March or April. We can see that market has been respecting the trend line and creating new higher highs and new higher lows. And on last week, the previous high of this entire pair, has been broken before the market close. So on H4, we are going to wait for market to pull back to retest this support level, and this is the best time for us to enter for a buy trade and continue to ride with the market trend. So the last pair for today, dollar Canadian pair. So dollar Canadian, I believe that I've been mentioning this for quite a lot of time, that market still in a very strong bearish trend. So on last week, we can see that there is some minor pullback, but somehow the major resistance level of the daily chart is still not broken. So on H4, what we can see is that market was trying to do a pullback, but the H4 resistance has been retested, and market respect to this zone where we can see that there is some selling momentum, or some players or some traders started to sell upon the retest of this H4 resistance zone. So on this week, we are going to short this pair, and our strip stop loss will be just right above this H4 zone or right above this daily resistance zone. So that's all for the analysis for this week. Hope you liked the video, and we are going to see you again on next week.